Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom with 7 kiddos ranging from 12 down to 1 year. I just recently did a bunch of Christmas videos and I wanted to throw some homeschooling videos back in here. I have a couple more Christmas videos, holiday videos that I wanted to get out as well, but I wanted to go ahead and put up some of the ones that I was going to put up prior to making all my 7 videos for Christmas or holiday gift ideas. I wanted to do a video that I don't really even know why I haven't done one like this about this topic, because there's a lot of kind of back and forth about which way is better. Homeschooling year-round versus homeschooling on a regular school schedule. So specifically why we do not do a year-round school. If you have been here for any length of time, you will know that we were in public school. My older 2 were in public school for, my oldest was in school through 3rd grade in public school, and then my second was just did kinder. They did private preschool as well. And so my oldest, at least, was very much into the public school lifestyle. And so was I, to be honest. And it is, we knew nothing of this homeschool life. And it was not something that was on my radar. I've said that quite a few times. It was not something that I thought I would ever do. It was something that I felt called to do and that has really become a huge blessing because of just so many perks of it. But we do not homeschool year round. And I've struggled kind of with understanding why people do that. I know everybody does things differently and everybody homeschools differently. And if you've never gone to public school, if your kids have never gone to public school, then you might not have that mindset of this sort of schedule that a public school calendar has. Like I said, I came from public school. My husband was in public school. There was no history of homeschooling whatsoever in our family. And I feel like, I'm not a huge fan of change, to be honest. But at the same time, I was willing to look at it in a different perspective and see if it was something that we might be interested in doing. And I'm not really, it's not for us, but let me explain why we have chosen to do the traditional school year calendar, if you will. So like I said, the public school history, if you are coming from public school, which I feel like a lot of people are nowadays, then that is the schedule that you are used to. That is the schedule that your kids are used to, that you are most familiar with, that your kids are most familiar with. If you are coming from public school, your kids probably have friends in public school, and the majority of them are in public school, as is, for my kids. And so when we came from that, not only was it a transition period, but and an adjustment and a getting used to, but to throw that at them and to say, okay, we're going to do this, and you don't necessarily get a summer break. Now, their breaks are different, but you don't necessarily get a summer break like you're used to, or you don't get a Christmas break like you're used to, or whatever the differences are. I didn't feel like that was fair. And because a lot of our friends are public school kids, I wanted to keep with that. I wanted to keep with that schedule. I wanted to keep it in line with their friends and with, having the same vacation times as other kids and having the same off times as other kids. It's just something that I feel like we did not need to change. It was working well. It is something that they were used to. It was something, like I said, that I was used to and that never caused any issues with travel or with, just schedule in general. So the history of public school was a big thing for us, and not wanting to change that and not wanting to adjust that just because we were homeschooled, because I know a lot of homeschoolers do a year-round homeschooling, but I didn't want to do it just because. I felt like for us, it was not in anybody's best interest to change that up. And that was just something that, like I said, we were familiar with. We operated on that system and we were used to that system, and it just works. So don't feel like if you are coming from public school that you have to do these crazy, crazy changes to your homeschool and to your schedule and throw all this stuff at your kids that like totally changes, how they view the traditional school calendar, and that you have to do it that way, because you don't. You can leave some things the same that work well for your family. Enjoying the months off. We like the summer, obviously. It's when you're coming from public school, you look forward to May when it's the end of school, and then just the whole summer of having a 2.5 months off. We enjoy that. I enjoy that. I need that for my sanity to just take a mental break and take a long break, and that is my kind of reset time. That, along with the Christmas break, spring break, all the main breaks in school, that is kind of my reset. That is where I gather what worked, what didn't, gather my thoughts, gather my plans, and see what we need to change and what can stay the same. You don't have to change things. You can leave things the way they are, but at least you have that time to sit there and reevaluate and look at everything and, get things done that need to be done and organize things, organize your thoughts. I mean, you need it for your sanity, at least in my case. And so you can have these months off for your kids, obviously, for them to have a mental break, but for yourself to have the mental break. And this isn't saying either that you have to take the entire 2.5 months off that would be your traditional off time or summertime for school. You can take less than that if you want to, but I don't, the year-round schooling that I think a lot of people do, where it's like X amount of weeks on and X amount of weeks off. We just don't do enough in those weeks off to justify getting rid of our full summer schedule, if that makes sense. The distinct break between grades. I have said that I'm not a huge fan of the idea that you don't know what grade your kids are in, or your kids don't know what grade they're in. They're just kind of like going with the flow. Now, with that being said, I have made a couple videos with my kindergartner and my first grader about changes that we have done, and I will link those too in this video. But in regards to language arts, so for example, the curriculum, The Good and the Beautiful, that we use, I believe, is a level higher than what it has on there, what it states. And they will tell you that you need to do the assessment. Do not assume that your child is in the level K or the level 1. And it's not grade 1 or grade K. It is level K or level 1 or level 2. And so that kind of messed with my mind a little bit, because when I started them in the language arts curriculum, I was kind of taken aback, because I was like, whoa, this is a little bit hard for them. And then I felt like, wait, did I fail last year? Did I, but then I put them back a level, and after seeing, y'all's comments and kind of researching a little bit, I genuinely feel like it is a level above. And so they are doing great on the level below, which I feel like is a more accurate level of their knowledge. So with that, I struggled because I am not one that's like, hey, we are, I don't know what grade we're in. We're just moseying on through and we'll get where we are when we get there. It's all student led. And to an extent, it can be student led, but this is not, I take it a little bit more seriously than that. I've started to become a little bit more lax about things, but for things like that, I really want to be able to say, like, this is the grade my child is in. So I like the distinct stop and start between grades. With your year-round homeschoolers, a lot of times they will just go straight, from one to another, and there's no distinct break. So they will, once their kids finish one level, they will go straight into the next level, like without stopping. It's just like a continuous learning. And I don't mean not stopping, like they don't have a slight break in between, but there's no celebration of this end of the school year and then beginning of this next school year. It's just like a constant flow. And I wasn't really too keen on that. So I want to be able to have a distinct celebration, like you finished, first grade. Okay. And now we're on to second grade. I do every year, I do the end of the school pictures. I do the beginning of the school pictures with the signs and all of that. That's something that I have done since pre-K. So that is not something that I am willing to part with or willing to change. That is just not. So I like the distinct break. I think it is important. I think it is, in their mind too, they can see okay, we are done with this. We have closed this chapter of this year of this grade, and we are now on to the next grade. This is a new year of learning, new things. And, they can see that, okay, last year was a little bit, it might've been easier for you or whatever, but it's about to get a little bit harder, especially if you're entering into a new, middle school or high school and such. And finally, these are just a few things, but these are the things kind of on the top of my head that I was thinking of. We don't necessarily take a lot of vacations throughout the year. Yes, it is a perk of homeschooling that you can do that, but we have a lot of other factors in our lives. In our life specifically, we have dance schedules, we have baseball schedules, we have taekwondo schedules, we have, my husband's work schedule. I mean, just so many different factors in our life that it is not something that, in my mind and in my kids' mind, they look forward to Christmas vacation or Thanksgiving vacation or spring break vacation or, summer vacation, certain times throughout the summer where we like to travel more within that lump of time. So it's something that we look forward to multiple times a year, but it's within, I feel like, the designated time frames, if that makes sense at all. So we're just not big on traveling purposefully outside of your typical, typical standard vacation times. Yes, a lot of times it is less crowded and you can save a lot of money depending on where you're going. Some aspects are good when you think of it, but we're still traveling within a designated break that we have. And so we're just not big on that. It's not something where I just randomly pick a day and say, okay, we're going to go on vacation in the middle of, April or something. And I think, again, that's because of our public school history and the fact that my kids recognize vacation time as time when they're not schooling and specific times. Also a good time, when we visit friends that are in public school or, out of town or family or whatnot, that we can coordinate schedules because everybody is on vacation at the same time. So that makes a big difference too, when you have friends that are in public school and you can coordinate things like that. So I just wanted to kind of go over that as to why we do not homeschool year round. There is nothing against homeschooling year round. I think if it works for your family, that is great. And again, a lot of times people don't, if you haven't experienced public school then, or your kids haven't, then they're not, that's something that you start off with on day one as a year-round homeschooling, then that's what they're used to, and that's fine. But there's so many factors that go into, just your traditional school calendar year, and why we choose to do it that way. So if you have any questions, if you homeschool year round, let me know your reasons, because I'm curious. It's just it doesn't work for us, but these are just some reasons why it doesn't work for us. But let me know down below if you homeschool year round or if you prefer the traditional school year. Like I said, to each their own. Everybody does things differently. There is no right or wrong way. It is whatever is best for your family. Okay, let me know down below if you have any questions or comments, and I will see you guys next video. Take care.